how can we help learners know when it's the best time for them to use AI? AI-powered education is next. Casey and I are still constantly looking for the best things that we can do with our learners when it comes to AI. And one of the really important things is to involve our learners, like to make sure that they are part of this process and that they can be critical thinkers of when is it best for them to use AI. And unless we walk them through that process, they may not always know when it's best. And then they wind up going down some path that we were always hoping that they wouldn't do. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple of, an example at the college level, and I know Casey has some examples too at the high school level, but we are using Edutopia as a reference for our conversation today. So Casey, why don't you talk a little bit about where you see the real need that the learners have to really push into that critical thought process?
Yeah, I think the article that we read, we'll share it here so that people can see that as well. It really sort of inspired me to talk about AI in my classroom a little differently than I have. So I feel like I wanted to talk about AI and present it as like a list of do's and don'ts for students. Like it is a tutor for you. This is how you use it. And that's a conversation we've had a lot on our show. And that still holds true. I still believe that. But it felt very much like me telling my students what was appropriate and what isn't appropriate, what I will accept and what I won't accept. And I thought, this article gave me 7 questions to go through with my students. And I thought, why not start with us together having a conversation about AI and how they see it, and then come into a realization together about what are the pros and cons, what are the right circumstances. And, I've always said things like it shouldn't replace your thinking. It shouldn't, do the work of the assessment that you are supposed to show that you are learning. If I'm asking you to write a topic sentence, you have to write that. That's not the job of the AI to write it, right? Because I'm assessing your ability to do that. And that's all fine and dandy, but like AI is so much more than just English class that I teach or public speaking class. It's a part of our world, and every discipline and every grade level has opportunities to ask students questions about what they think is appropriate, because they have AI at their fingertips too with everything. And so should they be using AI to write their posts for Instagram? I don't know if they are. Should they be using AI to send that message to a significant other about what they're thinking and feeling? It's like, when can we help them also navigate their personal lives with these tools? And I think that's something that I hadn't really considered a lot about.
Right. Well, I know that there's, I'm sure there's some kind of term for this, but when you tell us what not to constantly do, or it could be you're playing Mario and you're not supposed to get on the banana, but all you do is like focus and you just hit the banana instead of thinking, oh, how can I go around the banana? There are many options, right? And for our learners, this is a great opportunity to talk about the options instead of us constantly saying what not to do, what not to do, what not to do, or not really asking them. Because I have my issue was I kind of like, here is this great tutor for you, and here's this great assistant, but not really having a full, because there's never enough time, so not having a full rich conversation, exactly what Utopia is talking about, of really talking about it with your learners instead of like do's and don'ts, whatever, and then them using it as a time saver because they don't want to do anything else, and then there's trouble.
Yep. Well, and also, how limiting is it for the students to think that this resource is only a good use of their time when they have no time, right? Like, oh, I just have to turn to AI when I'm strapped and when I don't have time for anything else. And I'm super stressed and I just don't know what to say. And I've been working on this for far too long or not enough. And now we're using a really great tool in a way that honestly is not its best. It's not serving students in the best possible way when we're making it do something that it's really only mediocre at anyway. Like the skills that we're able to learn and utilize from tools of AI are so much better than just turning out an essay or turning out the answers to these history questions. It's better than that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that because that's something we haven't spoken about is like, it's better, like, let's use it at what it's really good at. And also what we're really good at. And the human in the loop with AI. Now we're talking about then that critical thinking. And then as teachers, guiding, modeling, and making sure we have those conversations that are those critical conversations. So I appreciate that Edutopia stood up and said some things about this and didn't try to hide it and run and say we're not going to do it, but just really dug into those critical questions. So good topic to think about the right way to use AI, but making sure the right way is the best way to have those conversations with your learners. Thank you.
Thank you.